conflict in Kursk has taken a dramatic turn as Russian special forces utilized an abandoned gas pipeline to launch a surprise offensive against Ukrainian positions. Elite Russian troops crawled through a 1.4-meter wide, disused gas pipeline, advancing approximately 15 kilometers to strike Ukrainian units from behind near the town of Sucha. This audacious maneuver forms part of Moscow's broader strategy to reclaim territory in the Kursk region following Ukraine's shock cross-border offensive last August. Footage circulating on Telegram purportedly shows these special forces operatives making their way through the darkness of the pipeline, with some wearing gas masks to navigate the confined space. The soldiers can be heard expressing frustration with their command. "Fucking hell, where the fuck are we, boys? Where does the pipe go to, soldier? For fuck's sake, that's fucking crazy." We'll get there, of course, but indignantly because we're fucking sick of the fucking command. According to Ukrainian-born pro-Kremlin blogger Yuri Podelyaka, some Russian operatives spent several days inside the pipeline before launching their attack. The pipeline in question was until recently used by Moscow to transport natural gas to Europe via Ukraine. The Russian Defense Ministry has claimed significant progress in their Kursk offensive, announcing the capture of multiple settlements, including Malaya, Laconia, Turkey's Konya, Horek, Neuer, and Kaza, all located north of Sucha. The ministry statement followed reports of the pipeline operation, which appears to be part of a larger strategy to cut off thousands of Ukrainian soldiers in the region. Ukraine's general staff confirmed that Russian troops had attempted to use the pipeline, but claimed they were detected in a timely manner. Ukrainian forces reportedly responded with rockets and artillery. At present, Russian special forces are being detected, blocked, and destroyed. The enemy's losses in suits are very high. The general staff reported the strategic town of Suja with approximately 5,000 residents. Houses, major gas transfer, and measuring stations along the pipeline route, and was once a significant outlet for Russian natural gas exports through Ukrainian territory. That Ukraine's military incursion into Russia's Kursk region last August marked the largest attack on Russian territory since World War II. Within days of the offensive, Ukrainian forces had seized approximately 1,000 square kilometers of territory, including Suja, and captured hundreds of Russian prisoners of war. Military analysts suggest the operation was designed to gain leverage for future peace negotiations while forcing Russia to divert troops from its grinding offensive in eastern Ukraine. However, Moscow has since deployed an estimated 50,000 troops to counter the Ukrainian presence, reportedly including soldiers from North Korea. Recent open-source maps of the battlefield indicate that tens of thousands of Ukrainian soldiers now risk encirclement as Russian forces make rapid advances. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev claimed on Telegram that the lid of the smoking cauldron is almost closed and that the offensive continues. The Russian offensive presents a critical tactical dilemma for Ukraine as spring thaws turn roads to mud, whether to withdraw from Kursk, and if so, how to do so without a disorganized retreat under intense Russian fire. The Russian advances are particularly challenging for Ukraine following the United States' pause of military aid and intelligence sharing this month. The suspension followed a contentious meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on February 28th, which reportedly deteriorated into a public confrontation with World. The Trump administration's apparent shift in policy towards Ukraine and perceived favoring of Moscow has sparked significant concern among European leaders. Latvian President Edgars Rinkēvičs told Sky News that European countries should absolutely consider introducing conscription, conceding that the continent was quite weak militarily against the Russian threat. Ukraine is preparing for talks with top U.S. diplomats in Saudi Arabia on Tuesday, with President Trump reportedly pressing for a swift conclusion to the war. the timing of these discussions as Russian forces threaten to encircle Ukrainian troops in Kursk places Kyiv in a particularly vulnerable negotiating position. As questions mount over U.S. commitment to Ukraine. France has announced an additional military aid package worth €195 million. French Defense Minister Sébastien Lecornu revealed on Sunday that France will utilize profits from frozen Russian assets to finance the delivery of new 155 megawatts artillery shells and glide bombs from Mirage 2000 fighter jets previously supplied to Ukraine. The announcement prompted an angry response from the Speaker of Russia's parliament, Felicia Sloboda, who stated that Paris will answer for its actions and eventually have to return what he described as stolen funds. The French initiative represents part of a broader European effort to maintain support for Ukraine amid uncertainty over future American assistance. However, analysts question whether European aid alone can offset the reduction in U.S. military backing. While the battle for Kursk intensifies, Russia has simultaneously launched heavy aerial attacks across Ukraine. At least 22 people were killed in overnight bombardments, including 11 in the frontline town of Dobra Pila in Ukraine's embattled eastern Donetsk region. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the attacks as a vile and inhumane intimidation tactic by Russia. The intensification of aerial bombardments coincides with the pause in U.S. military support, potentially signaling Moscow's intention to capitalize on the shifting geopolitical landscape in the eastern Donetsk region, where Russian forces have made slow but steady progress during grueling fighting in what was once Ukraine's industrial heartland. Moscow claimed on Sunday that its forces had captured the village of Konstantinopil. Ukrainian forces continue to conduct long-range drone strikes against Russian oil infrastructure. Russian officials reported that Ukrainian drones targeted facilities in southern and central Russia overnight into early Sunday. One drone reportedly struck an oil depot in Chibok, a Russian city on the Volga River, approximately 1,000 kilometers from the border, according to local governor Oleg Nikolaev. No casualties were reported, though the depot requires reconstruction. Footage circulated on Russian Telegram channels appear to show a fire at or near one of Russia's largest oil refineries in the southern city of Ryazan. Residents reported hearing several nighttime blasts near the facility. The regional governor, Pavel Makov, claimed Ukrainian drones have been shot down nearby without causing damage or casualties. These strikes represent part of Ukraine's broader strategy to disrupt Russia's energy sector and military logistics. Though their tactical impact remains disputed by both sides, that Ukraine's cross-border offensive into Kursk last August represented the most significant attack on Russian territory since Nazi Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941. The operation seized international attention, both for its boldness and its apparent success in capturing substantial Russian territory with minimal Ukrainian losses. The Soviet-era war in Goi Palmyra, whose garage pipeline, which Russian special forces reportedly used in their recent operation, once transported gas from western Siberia via Susa to Ukraine. However, Ukraine terminated all Russian gas transit through its territory from January 1st this year, rendering the pipeline inactive. The current Russian counteroffensive in Kursk must be viewed within the context of the broader conflict, which has evolved into the most significant confrontation between Russia and the West since the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis. Military observers note that the outcome in Kursk could have implications far beyond the immediate battlefield, potentially influencing peace negotiations and the overall trajectory of the conflict. In an unrelated but notable development, Russian officials have faced criticism after presenting mothers of soldiers killed in Ukraine with meat grinders as gifts on International Women's Day. The controversy stems from the common accusation that Russia throws its troops into a meat grinder with little regard for their lives. Local government officials in the northwestern Russian town of Polyana Nasri defended themselves against the backlash, claiming critics were making callous and provocative interpretations of the gifts. The incident highlights the complex domestic challenges Russia faces in maintaining public support for the war while addressing the growing number of casualties among its forces.